What's up, everyone? It's Caddy with Money Investing. So, very interesting day. Two, in fact, back-to-back identical days for the market where we gapped down and rallied intraday to close that entire gap and pretty much finish in flat on the day. So S&P 500 was slightly higher on the day, up a little bit over 10 basis points. The Nasdaq was only down 3 basis points, and the Dow Jones was slightly higher, up over 30 basis points. Bitcoin with a huge breakout. We briefly talked about it during our live stream where it was forming like an ascending triangle or kind of like a bullish pennant, and we got this huge breakout past $30,000, the first time it's ever breached that level since June of last year. So hope you guys are doing great. If you guys enjoyed this video, find it helpful, make sure that you drop a like. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. If you're just joining us for the first time, the link to our Discord and Patreon is going to be down below. The first week of the month is the best time to join, and of course the fundamental and tech analysis courses currently 40% off the bundle. Link's going to be down below for that as well. So going over to some of the main headlines, the number one headline which kind of piqued my interest, and I mentioned it during our live stream as well, was the fact that Apple's Mac shipments have fallen more than 40%. That's a pretty significant sell-off, and the actual market share has gone from 8.6 to 7.2% according to IDC data in the first quarter of 2023. So Apple's worldwide computer shipments fell by over 40% year-over-year in the first quarter of 2023 amid a broader contraction in consumer demand, and all five of the largest computer makers, which is going to be Apple, Asus, Dell, HP, and Lenovo, saw double-digit drops in the first quarter shipments, reflecting weaker demand and persistent inventory woes, but Apple's decline was the biggest of the bunch. So Apple obviously was down quite a bit today. It was a little bit over 1.6%. It's coming off of those overbought levels and getting up to that resistance. We're going to talk a little bit more about the technicals later in the video, but this is certainly not looking good with respect to earnings. So what you'll notice is that they mentioned, Luca Maestri, the Apple CFO, pretty much mentioned it's not entirely unexpected that in February that Apple expected double-digit declines in Mac and iPad sales from a year-over-year period for the March quarter, and Mac revenue fell 28% in the December quarter, and Apple CEO Tim Cook said that at the time that a challenging macroeconomic environment affected iPhone, Mac, and Apple Watch sales. So, we've already talked about the potential earnings recession, and we're going to find out a lot of companies, how they actually end up reporting the first quarter numbers and what the guidance looks like for 2023. But Apple, of course, being at the top of the food chain, is really a lot of it is going to depend on how Apple actually ends up performing, and it's going to give us some more insights into the consumer demand for discretionary items such as MacBooks, iPads, watches, phones, etc. So again, earnings is the most important thing. If earnings don't hold up, if you actually do see declines year-over-year, pretty substantial declines, then you'll all of a sudden have the S&P 500 valuation trading at a pretty expensive level, and we'll have to recalibrate down a little bit lower, potentially down to levels we may have never seen or not yet seen. The S&P 500 takes a slightly higher Monday as investors look ahead to key inflation data. Inflation's coming out later this week, which is going to be very important. So ASX Investments' Greg Basuk says, and I quote, "We're seeing what we believe the same investor narrative, which is uncertainty around the mixed economic data, which is driving uncertainty around Fed policy and greater concern, particularly within Friday's strong employment data, that the Fed may once again move forward with another rate hike. Investors have greater concerns about potential U.S. recession, and the markets seem to be under great pressure as the Fed decision looms." And the next meeting is going to be on May 2nd and May 3rd, so it is coming in close. It is coming in close. We're going to find out, whether we go 25, a pause, or a cut, what that's guidance going to look like moving forward. So this is going to be the economics calendar. So we do have the CPI numbers coming out on Wednesday, April 12th. I've already done a couple of videos on this, so make sure that you do check that out if you haven't already. And of course, we got the PPI numbers later this week on Thursday, earnings starting on Friday, and we got retail sales, consumer sentiment, business inventories, all those things coming out on Friday, April 14th. This right here is going to be the current state of the market. So Apple here pulling back, Microsoft down, Google was down, Amazon slightly higher, Tesla was gapping lower, 4%, 5%, 1 point, so it ended up pushing higher once again. And semiconductors are still going in strong. So we still see a very strong momentum going in for NVIDIA. AMD is up over 3%, Micron charging over 8% on the day. So financials slightly higher, basic materials, industrials, real estate, all of them pushing higher, with healthcare slightly down. So it's kind of like a mixed day for the market in the S&P 500. Not a lot of price action with respect to a lot of these industries. Of course, we did gap down and we recovered. So intraday, it was a lot of buyers stepping in, but on a day-over-day basis from Thursday, we didn't really see a lot of changes for a lot of these names. So industrials kind of leading the way up over 1%, followed by materials, energy, cyclicals, real estate, financials, and communication services was the worst performing sector, of course, with Google down. Microsoft and Meta, I think, was also lower slightly, 63 basis points. Energy, utilities, healthcare, communication services are the big performing sectors over the last 1 week. It's kind of like a mixed market, and over the last 1 month, we're still up on a net basis, mostly on the basis of comm services, technology, healthcare, utilities. Those are the sectors driving the markets higher at the moment. So orange juice for the win, up over 1.5%. Lean ox pushing higher. We got ethanol, palladium. We got Euro stocks pushing up, wheat, and then we got cocoa, coffee, lumber prices pulling back. Bitcoin with a huge surge past 30,000, and Ethereum also getting up to almost $2,000 at the moment. So this right here is the chart for Bitcoin. We briefly touched on this during our live stream, if you guys remember. Talked about a potential ascending triangle here where we're getting a lot of support, and we got a pretty big resistance at around 28,700. And now we're getting a huge breakout for Bitcoin. It was up 4.65%. It's up another 1.6% at the moment, and trading past 30,000. The next target is going to be 32,300 for BTC. And of course, a lot of individual stocks like Marathon was up over 14%. We had Riot up over 15%. Grayscale Bitcoin Trust up a little bit over 5.7%. Coinbase was up 7.6%. So a lot of these pushing higher on the day on the back of course, Bitcoin. Ethereum here all the way up to 1931. Next target is going to be all the way up to 2000. So this is going to be the level that we are paying attention to for Ethereum moving forward. That's going to be the next target for Ethereum. Volatility here is slightly lower. So intraday, it did sell off even though it was up on the day. So 3.1% back, almost at 19 levels. And right now we're kind of struggling to break past 20. This right here is a big level to watch, and we're not able to successfully break past that level. Every time the volatility gets up to 20, we see it crush right back down, come back to under 19 or closer to 18 levels. And once again, that happened intraday for volatility. Talking about crude oil, and we're once again kind of like hanging in there. So after the gap out, we're kind of going sideways. Resistance is going to stay put at roughly around $80, $81 a barrel. And we seem to be struggling to break out above this level, which is a good thing, right? So if inflation is going to come down, it's going to come down on the back of oil prices staying lower and going lower. If oil prices keep going higher, that's not going to be good news for inflation. So right now, this is the level that I'm really watching. If it breaks past 81, the next target is going to be $93 per barrel. But right now, it's still getting rejected. It's still underneath that resistance for the moment. Talking about the S&P 500 now, and SPX here still battling through that resistance at the moment. We're going up there for another retest, and again, green candle and a green day back over 4,100. This is going to be that level to watch for S&P 500 inside this red rectangle sitting between 41 and 4,200 for the S&P 500. And of course, we got inflation numbers coming out later this week, so that is really what's going to dictate. Hold on one second. Okay, I do apologize if my audio was kind of echoing up until now because I had the MacBook speaker on as well. I do apologize. I don't know why I had that turned on, so hopefully it's a lot better now. Anyway, resistance is going to stay put roughly at around those levels, again at 41 to 4,200, and we got inflation numbers coming out, so support level is going to stay put all the way down to 37.74. Next up, we've got NASDAQ, so IXIC. We've got the NASDAQ here slightly flat, down about 0.03%, just trading sideways. Resistance is going to stay put at 12,225, so that is the level that we have been paying attention to. We've gone rejected there not once, not twice, 3 times in the past. And of course, with inflation numbers, we'll find out whether we get a breakout or a rejection for the NASDAQ. But that is going to be the most important level to pay attention to at the moment for the NASDAQ. Talking about Apple here, and Apple on the day down 1.6%, selling off, although green candle on a red day does suggest there were some buyers present. MACD is overbought, so is the RSI, so I would not be surprised to see some more potential downside. Apple definitely is giving me some indications that it wants to come lower. Support level is going to stay put at 157, 158. This right here is going to be that level to watch, all the way down to as low as 137 for Apple. So this is going to be that next technical support level to pay attention to for Apple. Talking about Amazon, and Amazon here on the day was slightly higher, up 0.11%, mostly trading sideways, consolidating with a green candle here. Resistance is going to stay put at $104, $105 per share, all the way up to as much as 105. So those right there are going to be a couple of resistance levels to watch for Amazon, and support level is going to stay put down to $83, $84 per share. So lots of consolidation sideways right now, and this is the range within which it's trading for a really long time. So next up, we're going to talk about Tesla. And Tesla here on the day was, again, green candle on a red day. So we did see a lot of buyers stepping in at around 176, a support level that I have mentioned in the past. So 170 to 175 inside this green rectangle, very strong support level for Tesla. So that is going to be that level to watch, and resistance all the way up to 212 for the company. Right now, we're just, again, trading sideways. Similar to Amazon, this is the range for Tesla where we are just going sideways here. Support level is going to stay put roughly around 175, resistance at 220s, 210s, in and around those levels. And that's pretty much the range within which Tesla's been trading at. Next up, we've got Nvidia, and Nvidia here continues to charge higher. It's up another 2% on the day, back over 275. Resistance and target is going to stay put at 292, so that right there is going to be that level to watch for Nvidia. And right now, again, MACD is starting to curl back up. So is the RSI, staying a little bit on the more overbought side, pretty elevated. So we'll continue to monitor how Nvidia trades and if there is any opportunity for it to come down. But resistance is going to stay put at 292, and we've got a gap to fill over here for Nvidia, sitting roughly at 210s to as much as 220s. Advanced Micro Devices with a very nice move back up, pushing up 3.2%. So there was a little bit of a descending triangle. We did get a very brief breakdown for AMD, now starting to push right back up. Resistance is going to stay put all the way up to $102. So that is a level where we have previously gone rejected at more recently for AMD. And of course, support level is going to stay put down to $76, $77 for this company. So those right there are going to be some levels to watch for Advanced Micro Devices. Going over to PayPal, and PayPal here on the day was slightly down about 0.5%. PayPal really isn't moving much. It's just going sideways. Lots of consolidation on low volume for PayPal. So even today's volume was about 7.5 million. So there's not a lot of activity happening for PayPal, and all we're really seeing is a lot of consolidation sideways. So this right here is going to be that lower high to watch for PayPal. Resistance and support level is going to stay for roughly around $67 per share for the company. So that we're seeing a lot of consolidation sideways at that level. And just, you know, we're going to be trading sideways a little bit more. Talking about Square, and Square here on the day was down about 2.5%. So getting a little bit of a pullback. Support level is going to stay put at $59, $60 per share. Resistance all the way up to $83, $89. So those right there are going to be some levels to pay attention to for Square moving forward. And right now we're still in the context of this downtrending channel of lower highs and lower lows as well. And like I said, support level 59, that's, you know, closer to where we would be interested in maybe taking a swing trade all the way down to $51 per share as well. Those right there are going to be some levels to watch as support. Talking about Meta platforms, and Meta on the day was only down 62 basis points. So we kind of saw like almost all companies got bought up intraday, even though there was like down and red on the day, there were still green candles. That definitely does suggest there is some bullish sentiment still present at the moment, and resistance for Meta is going to be all the way up to $222. So this right here is going to be that level to watch as a resistance for Meta platforms moving forward. So that's going to be the level. Support level is going to stay put down to $198 per share. Talking about Netflix, and Netflix here on the day, again, down, but green candle and coming in, and resistance all the way up to $364 to as much as $379. So those right there are going to be a couple levels to watch with a support at $276. And Netflix still kind of following through with that pattern here, pushing higher. But we'll see if it actually continues to validate this level right here, which is going to be that higher low. And if it gets up to that resistance of $379, $380 per share. Talking about Google, and Google here on the day also just consolidating sideways, not really seeing a big breakout, but instead down 1.79%. You know, we did see a breakout and then a retest and then a rally back up to that resistance at 108, 109. So this right here really is going to be that level to pay attention to for Google, and support level is going to stay at roughly around $101 per share for the company. Right now we're seeing a lot of consolidation, but it is shifting. It is definitely on its way to shifting its overall trend. If we can get a breakout past 109, then we're going to be higher than the previous high. So we'll be making higher highs and potentially even higher lows. In the future, next target is going to be all the way up to $123 per share for Google moving forward. Talking a little bit about Microsoft now, and Microsoft on the day was down slightly, 0.76%, but once again, buyers stepping in. But this has been a very, very low volume day for a lot of companies. I mean, if you take a look at Microsoft, 23 million, right, which is lower than their average 10-day volume. Google here, really, really low, only 19 million. There's like 5 million shares short of what we usually see. Nvidia, for example, the volume was a little bit over 39 million, so that was pretty much consistent there. Advanced Micro Devices, I want to take a look, and the volume was a little bit over 52 million, so 1 million shy. If you take a look at Meta and see how the volume was on the day for Meta, and we did see 16 million, right, versus 20 million. So you've got stocks getting bought up intraday on a very low volume. That does suggest there was not a lot of institutional participation behind these moves higher. Could be a lot of retail. It could be just not hedge funds, not big money kind of participating on the way up on these intraday rallies, because there is a lot of uncertainty with respect to what's happening later this week with respect to inflation, consumer sentiment. We've got the Fed's balance sheet. We got the FOMC minutes. So a lot of data is coming out, and I doubt institutions are going to be playing or front running all this data. In other words, buying it ahead of all these reports coming out. So be careful out there, because intraday, yes, we're seeing a lot of momentum to the upside. And last but not least, Shopify was flat on the day, and once again, green candle. So after the gap down, we did see some buyers stepping in. Support level is going to stay put at $41. So this right here is going to be that level to watch as a very good support, and resistance all the way up to as much as $54 with a gap to fill somewhere between 48 and 50. It's going to be quite interesting because, again, the volume, if you take a look at Shopify, only 9 million shares traded versus an average 11 to 13 million. And this number has been coming down. The white line you see on the chart for volume. So if I bring up the volume here very quickly, so let's just go over this. So that's the white line, right? So you guys see on the chart, and that has been consistently coming down for a lot of companies. So volume isn't really there, but yet we're still seeing a lot of momentum to the upside for a lot of individual stocks. So that's going to be it for today. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, found it helpful. For S&P 500, we got a big level to watch at 41 to 4200 resistance. And for NASDAQ, we've got resistance sitting roughly around where we are at 12,200 to 12,300. Around those points is going to be that level to watch for the NASDAQ. So hope you guys enjoyed this video, found it helpful. If you did, make sure that you drop a like. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you're just joining us for the first time. The link to our Discord and Patreon is going to be down below if you're interested in joining us. As always, happy investing, and I'll see you all in the next video.